Lucas Grant is a lifelong law enforcement officer. He looks like he's about 25, but he's actually 40 years old. Hey, how you doing, Lucas?
I'm doing well, Austin. I want to say thank you for having me on the show today and allowing me to use your platform to be able to share my vision and my mission with all the listeners. But I do want to take a moment just to remember the ones who sacrificed their lives on 9/11, committing this terrible act that was committed on our country. So I do want to share that and make sure everyone remembers those individuals.
Hard to believe it was 23 years ago. I'm going to do the math here. You were 17?
I was in high school. I remember exactly where I was.
Where'd you go to high school?
North Augusta High School.
Yellow Jacket.
Oh yeah.
What was going on when the announcement came on?
Oh man, it was crazy because my teacher, Miss Butts, I still remember who class I was in. She walked out of the classroom and she came back in and she turned the TV on and you basically saw everything that was going on. And
I'm glad that North Augusta did that. Richmond County, they didn't want them watching the TVs.
Really?
I never did get a straight answer on that. In Columbia County, they did. Richmond County, they didn't want the kids watching it. And I don't mean little kids. I'm talking about high school kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that was American history being made, even though it was upsetting, but you needed to be part of it.
Absolutely.
Lucas, let's give a little bit about your background. You're still working currently, right?
I'm still currently working. I'm with the Wagner Police Department in Wagner, South Carolina, where I'm a safety resource officer, a sergeant with the Wagner High School, Wagner Sally High School. So I like to give a shout out to the War Eagles there.
Okay.
But I have a extensive background, and I've worked in law enforcement for 14 years.
And where have you primarily got most of your experience?
So 13 years I did at the Richmond County Sheriff's Office.
And how long? So you left a year ago?
That's correct.
Okay. So you were there pretty much the entire time Roundtree was there?
Yes, sir, I was.
Well, you've seen how not to run a department. What made you decide to leave?
Back in 2013, I had the opportunity to sit down with Sheriff Roundtree. And I told him, I said, I want to learn what it takes to become a sheriff. And not only become a sheriff, I want to take my talents back home to Aiken County. So we're at that point now where I've had the opportunity to work the 13 years with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, which was great because working there 1 year is equivalent to 5 years anywhere else.
No doubt. Trial by fire, man. You learn a little of everything.
Absolutely. And I worked from the ground up. I started in the jail. I had the opportunity to stay there for a year and a half because I wanted to learn the ins and outs. And that's great because going to the position that I'm going to be elected in now for the Aiken County Sheriff, you have to run the detention center.
Yeah, I don't want to turn this into a bash Roundtree episode. That's not what you're here to do. But I do want to ask you because it's pertinent and very much to your credit. You said you did a year and a half at the jail because you wanted to learn about how to run it.
Yes, sir.
The sheriff is in charge of the jail, the detention center in Aiken County, the Charles Webster Detention Center jail facility, Finney Road in Augusta, Richmond County. That is a huge physical operation.
It is.
What's the size comparison, Finney Road to Aiken County Detention Center?
So the maximum, and I don't want to give you the numbers to be off, but it's roughly around about 1,400 people that Richmond County can hold, and then roughly about 300 to 350.
Well, much smaller operation, thank goodness.
I would say smaller operation, but the crime, the criminal activity is continuing to rise because of the population growing.
Yeah, and I'll ask you about that in a minute. But again, the physical building.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's humongous.
And how you have to, as sheriff, be on top of it.
Yes.
You ever a fan of Star Trek when you were a kid?
I did. I wasn't a big fan of Star Trek. I did watch it, though.
I'm a big fan of Star Trek. And Captain Kirk and Mr. Scott, not Spock, Mr. Scott, his engineer, that ship, that's their building, that's their baby.
Yeah.
And a good sheriff will treat the jail like his baby. Sheriff Whittle does that out in Columbia County. Have you ever toured that facility in Columbia County?
I have.
It smells good.
It does.
You walk in there, you think you're a Waffle House. You can smell biscuits. I'm not lying, folks. And there's not yelling going on. There's not screaming. There's not nasty people walking around. It's almost like you're visiting the barracks of a basic training military base in Columbia County. Now, I wasn't invited to go on the tour of the Richmond County Jail, but several of my colleagues who were report a much different environment. And, I don't know what the environment would be in Aiken County, but I have not heard any complaints about the Aiken County Detention Center that we've had on the Richmond County Jail. And again, I lay 100% of that at the feet of the sheriff because while he's not the one that is in control of the money, he's the one that asked for it. And if he's not standing on his head, pounding the table, and threatening lawsuits against everybody if they don't pick up the tab for what needs to be done, it's not going to get done. And that's exactly what happened in Richmond County. Again, not to beat on around you too much, but I've not heard any complaints about Mike Hunt doing that. Am I right? In other words, the Aiken County Detention Center is a fairly well-maintained building.
Well, I would,
or is it?
I would agree, and I would say that because the captain that's over that jail runs a very good ship. And I want to give him kudos because he's a good man. From what I hear, I hadn't had the opportunity to meet him personally, but he does a lot of great things for that detention center.
So you spent a year and a half working at the Richmond County Jail, and then I guess you became a street deputy.
I did, and then I worked in special operations. So, of course, I worked on the first gang unit at the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, but that was a great opportunity. We dismantled over 98 different gangs, myself along with my partner who's currently running for Burke County Sheriff, Brad Capitosity. And we assisted, multiple divisions, whether it's criminal, CID, criminal investigations, whether that was narcotics, vice, you name it. We removed some very bad people off the street. We removed a lot of guns and drugs off the street. And that was a great opportunity, but I continue to have great opportunities of success going forward. As I went to criminal investigations, I became the sole homicide investigator in 2017, where I averaged over 45 to 50 homicides.
Wait a minute, you're the sole homicide investigator in Augusta, Richmond County?
Absolutely.
How can you only have one homicide investigator?
And that's what we had at the time.
God bless you. All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll continue. I remember back when Scott Peoples was there, they had half a dozen guys in that.
Well, that was all throughout of CID itself.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on a second. We'll be back and continue this train of thought. Lucas Grant running for sheriff of Aiken County. Stay with us. I don't know if you heard that or not. I was having fun telling Lucas about some of the craziness at the Steeler-Falcon game Sunday. He is a Dallas Cowboy fan, so you Panther fans out there, don't hold that against him. So it's interesting to me the number of folks that it takes to staff not just a sheriff's department but a jail. Mm-hmm. You got to have your active jailers and everything. One thing I found out about the Columbia County Sheriff's Department that apparently Richmond County doesn't have, they have full-time maintenance people that never leave the Columbia County lockup. I was told that in Richmond County currently, their maintenance guy works for the whole county. And so he's at the municipal building working on something, and then he'll go to the library working on something, and the next thing you know, he's at the jail working on something. Does Aiken County have a full-time maintenance staff at the jail? Right
now I'm unaware, but that is something that I'm going to be looking into because I want that facility to be cleaned.
Sheriff Whittle actually makes sure his guys are deputies, mm-hmm. And so they can work on the air conditioning unit if they have to, and then turn right around and be a cop if they have to. Right. I mean, that was an amazing feature of the jail with Columbia County that I had no idea about. But we're going to take a break here for news at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, I'll quiz you a little bit more about your experience as a homicide investigator and how you think Aiken County measures up as far as the needs, personnel-wise and facilities-wise. He is Lucas Grant. He is running for sheriff of Aiken County as a Democrat and trying to replace the retiring Sheriff Hunt, who's, I think, been in over there 16 years? 20. He's been in there 20 years?
20 years.
Hard to believe. Wow. Take a break. Mark Haddon's final update of the afternoon. We'll be back. The Austin Rhodes Show continues following these important words. Stay with us. All right, we are back. Lucas Grant is running as Democrat for Sheriff of Aiken County. Mike Hunt is retiring after 20 years. Hard to believe. Been over there 20 years. And Mr. Grant is, again, far, far, far older than he looks. I bet you get carded when you go out, don't you?
Well, one, I don't go out, but I do get carded. Yes, I do.
And how old are your kids? You were mentioning them a little while ago.
So I have a daughter. My oldest is 17, middle daughter is 15, and my youngest daughter, she's 6.
Oh, bless your heart.
Oh yeah, girl dad.
I'm glad you got Kevlar. So a homicide detective over in Richmond County. Mm-hmm. How many years did you spend investigating homicides?
4 years. And it was great. Great opportunity for me. I averaged 45 to 50 homicides a year. And my solvability rate, arrest rate, conviction rate, 94.6%.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Absolutely. But not only there, I didn't want to stop there. I built a program off of it because I knew that the youth would be a big hole in their hearts, losing their family member to homicide. So I started a program called The Unspoken Gift, where I purchased them Christmas gifts out of my own pocket in 2017, and that program took off because I can't remember what news channel found out about it, but they did, and I was grateful that they did. But I didn't want it to be about me. I wanted it to be about those children because I wanted them to know that I know I worked the investigation, and I wanted to bring them a small piece of closure and justice, but I wanted them to know I was going to be there for them after the fact. I wanted to be a great role model for them. I wanted to be an impact for them and let them know that anytime that they had thoughts, anger, frustration, reach out to me because I know what that feels like. Because in 2020, my own father was killed in Aiken County.
Really?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry to hear that. First of all, what happened?
He was strangled.
Do we know who killed him?
Absolutely we do, but no arrest has been made.
Oh, no.
That's a problem, right?
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. But it's not just my own father. There's multiple families in Aiken County that have dealt with this.
Is that an investigation problem or a prosecution problem?
That's an accountability problem, an investigation problem, and a top of the leadership problem. So,
am I not put you on the spot here because this is the first time I've had a conversation with you? Mm-hmm. Are you not a fan of Sheriff Hunt?
I don't know the man, and I can't say anything negative about him.
Well, I mean, he's the leader.
He is, but there's so many different levels in a sheriff's office, and when I say that, there's captains, there's a chief, there's lieutenants, there's sergeants. Everybody plays a role, and as the sheriff, you want to be able to rely on your people, knowing that they're going to hold not only themselves accountable, but the people under their leadership accountable. So this could be something he doesn't even know about.
That would be disturbing.
It would be. Absolutely. Absolutely. But no, I have no hard feelings for that man. I don't know him. But going forward, when I'm elected in, I'm going to know about these things because I'm going to be holding them accountable. I'm going to set the standard. They're going to have passion for what they do and empathy for what they do.
What was behind your decision to leave Richmond County and go to work in the school system again? You're an Aiken County school resource officer at Wagner Sally High School.
So, of course, South Carolina requirements. I have to be in the state of South Carolina and receive, Class 1 certification, which is a standard deputy here. You
mean to tell me after 14 years and 6 years as a homicide, did you say 6 or 4? Four. As a homicide lead investigator in Augusta, Richmond County, they make you do the grunt work in South Carolina?
Yeah, but...
I mean, give you an example. My wife is an English teacher. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you, if she applied for a job in Aiken County, mm-hmm. she wouldn't have to go back to school.
Well, you know,
that's what the hell?
It's a great opportunity because.
Well, I understand it's an opportunity. Okay.
Now I get a chance to.
But can we change that?
Oh yeah, we're gonna work on that. Absolutely.
Is that a South Carolina law?
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Yes, we're going to work very hard.
Wouldn't it be great to be able to recruit from other states?
It would be, yes, absolutely.
And it's not like that in Georgia, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. They can recruit from wherever.
Yeah.
And, South Carolina, right now.
We need to get our state representatives and the governor in on that.
We're missing a lot of great opportunities.
And again, I understand you don't want to take, somebody with zero experience that just uses the police academy training and then transfers over. But I'm going to go ahead and say it. 14 years, you're an old man over there. I mean, you've got every bit of experience. Yeah. You could be teaching the damn classes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that doesn't make any sense. Wow, that's a terrible rule for South Carolina.
But I'm glad. I'm glad because it gives me the opportunity to be involved in these children's lives in that high school, to be a good role model, a great impact. Prior to me getting there, they didn't even talk to the officers that were there before me. They had multiple fights, multiple weapons were found, and since I've been there, we've had one fight. We found one gun, so a lot of engagement. The passion that I have for people, I invest into those people. And,
so you wanted to go you did go from lead homicide investigator to a school resource officer simply for the ability to run for sheriff?
Well, before we got there, I left the Richmond County Sheriff's Office as a lieutenant and a division commander. So I had worked in the community services division where I was out in the community, educating the community, me and my team. And we were putting on different classes, inviting them into the sheriff's office. In fact, one of the programs is the Citizens Police Academy, where they get a chance to come in for 12 weeks, learn about the sheriff's office and what we do, and then they later graduate and get to go back out and become ambassadors within the community. And that's the same thing I want to bring over to Aiken County because the citizens there, they don't even know the officers, the command staff, and that's a problem because we have to work together to get things done.
Let me give you a little piece of advice. Find a veteran officer that ain't going nowhere. I mean, because he or she has spent their entire career in the agency and they got family and everything. Make that person your PIO because Roundtree's been through 87 of them. None of them have been worth a tinker's damn, and it's not necessarily their fault because of the way that he treated them and what he would let them do and what not let them do. But it is the most exasperating. And I don't even try because, I'm banned. But other reporters have a terrible time getting information out of them. Columbia County has an absolute dream of a situation. And it's not always pleasant news. They've had to report their own people acting up and getting busted and, murders and all kind of things go on. It's not like it's always sunshine and lollipops in Columbia County. But Steve Morris has been in that position for decades. And for some odd reason, the Richmond County Sheriff's Department and the Richmond County Board of Education put folks in this position of public information officer that are either, bottom of the totem pole, and I don't mean that in a bad way. They're moving up in the world, and they're constantly going for the next best thing. They're going to be in that position 5 minutes and then gone. That's horrible, horrible. You get one of your best people, and that doesn't mean they can't do anything else. Hell, it's Aiken County. It's not New York City. They're not going to be making 85 media calls a day. But when it comes time, they need to be on a first-name basis. I had Steve Morris's home number, his cell number, his mama's number, his dog's number. I know his wife's birthday. I know his daughter's number because she's kind of cute. No, I'm playing. I'm joking. I know all that. And that's how you do things.
Well, I do have a great plan for that, so I really appreciate that advice. But I have a great plan for throughout the entirety of this election going into this. Like, my vision and my mission is going to enhance the safety of this community. The citizens of Aiken County are going to be able to hold me accountable. They're going to be able to know that I'm available to them and I'm aware of the things that are going on. I plan to bring forth a drug interdiction team. Through that drug interdiction team, we have 39 miles of interstate where it's not even being monitored. And that's a problem because narcotics are able to come into our community freely.
All right. We got to take a break here. We'll come back and wrap things up. He is Lucas Grant, running for sheriff of Aiken County. We'll be right back following these words. We are back. Just a couple of minutes left here with Lucas Grant. He is running on the Democratic side of things to replace the retiring Sheriff Hunt in Aiken County. And again, 14 years with the Richmond County Sheriff's Department, 4 years as a homicide detective, and terrible news. I did not know this, and again, I apologize. Maybe I should have, but his own father, the victim of a technically unsolved homicide, which he hopes to correct at some point in the near future. What's the difference between what Aiken County and Richmond County have to deal with and what Columbia County has to deal with? Because it's amazing to me. They're right next to each other. I mean, there's not a wall between them. There's not a force field. And a lot of the same people go back and forth constantly. On one side, as you said, 45 murders in a year, and on the other, 2. What the hell? I mean, I like to give credit to Clay Whittle for being Superman, but I know that's not the answer. And I also know that there are many, many good men and women in the Richmond County Sheriff's Department. It's not their fault. What the hell's going on?
Well, I do want to say this when it comes down to that. Gang activity plays a very big role, and I have a lot of experience in that, especially over in Aiken County. In the month of February, there's 28 days. They had 21 shootings. That's a problem because
in Aiken County.
Aiken County.
Yeah. And it's a big physical. I mean, physically it's a big county.
Yes.
Reminds me of Burke County, huge.
Absolutely. But that's unacceptable. That's not going to happen under me because I have a plan for that. Same thing when it comes down to the schools. Aiken County is responsible for 29 schools. 22 of them are vacant. But I'm going to use my grant writing team.
Are you talking about the school resource officers?
Absolutely.
Okay, I got you.
Vacancies,
yeah.
Which means there are no officers inside of our schools to make sure that our children are being protected.
Do those officers work for the Board of Education, or do they work for the Sheriff's Department?
They work for the Sheriff's Office.
Interesting. Okay. So it's a different system than they have.
Absolutely, yes. But that's going to change under my leadership. Because through that grant writing team, we're going to be able to go after the free money versus financing everything through the taxpayers and the citizens. So the plan that I have to enhance the safety of our community is what Aiken County needs. We're going to start doing joint trainings so that we can move from being reactive to proactive. And that mindset now changes, that culture now changes. We're starting to work together as a community, as first responders. But not only that, bringing the teachers in and from these schools into these trainings because I want them to be just as prepared as anyone else. Because when an active shooter comes in, those teachers are like first responders because they're with those kids. They're wanting to do everything they can to protect them.
You're in the school. You know how many people you have, the adults that are in that school. You know how many people you have that have military experience. Mm-hmm. You may even have some with law enforcement experience, maybe just some very avid hunters and or gun enthusiasts. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the concept of, with proper training, mm-hmm.
giving those
people the ability to have a gun and a safe and a secure area in the school?
I wish I could, but I can't. That's, of course,
I know that's South Carolina law. But what I'm saying is, would you like to see, if you've got, a former Army or Navy SEAL that's teaching social studies, wouldn't it be great for him to be able to?
Absolutely. The more help, the better.
My daughter's, speaking of 9/11, my daughter was at National Hills Elementary School 23 years ago, and her principal, or say 23 years ago, excuse me, the Columbine shooting, which would have been 26 or 27 years ago.
Right.
Her principal, Harry Ham, was not a ranger. What do you call him? Green Beret.
Okay.
In the Vietnam War. And, God forbid anything like that had ever happened at my daughter's school. He's a man with Green Beret training. Why not give him the ability to have a gun in a safe in his office. Why in the world wouldn't you do that? Those are in the days before. Those are in the days before school resource officers.
Right.
So we got literally, we're out of time right here. So tell you what, let's do. Let's let you know we appreciate you coming by.
I appreciate you having me.
And we'll look forward to talking to you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, Lucas Grant from the Aiken County Sheriff's Race. We'll see you tomorrow, gang. Have a good one and hang in there.